Miller, head men's basketball coach at UNC Greensboro.
I know you were born and raised in North Carolina. Your father played baseball at Wake Forest. You were around the ACC all your life.
Well, yeah, I was really fortunate. You know, my dad was a basketball fanatic and a sports fanatic. And growing up here in North Carolina, college basketball country, you know, from the earliest time I can remember, I fell in love with the game at a really young age. And when you fall in love with basketball in this state, you fall in love with college basketball. And I went to ACC games, ACC tournament games since I was a little kid. And I can't remember a time that I didn't have an obsession with the game.
You've been in coaching, you've seen players, you've been around basketball. The most satisfying thing in the world is seeing someone close to reaching their absolute potential. And that's what I saw with Wes Miller as a player. And now he's just continually pushing the envelope as a coach. And it's one of the most satisfying things in the world.
He started his college career at James Madison, and he played there 1 year. And then after that, he decided to transfer, and he came to be a walk-on at North Carolina. What was your sales pitch to Wes Miller and what his role would be?
You know, it's funny because he ended up being on scholarship all 4 years, but he came as a walk-on. We had a scholarship open every year, and so we ended up giving it to him. But he and his dad made the decision to come here with no money. They were going to pay the whole thing. And at the end of the talk, and I thought it was going really well, and he said something. I said, well, let me ask you a question. 20 years from now, what do you want to be doing? And he said, I'd like to be coaching. I said, oh, then you should come here because we'll help you, and every day we'll try to give you something that will help you later on. And you know, it sounds cocky kind of thing, but I really felt that way. If that's what he wanted to be, I thought that we could help him take the skills and the characteristics and the trait he has and try to get him involved more in the coaching thought process. And needless to say, it's worked out. But I really believe that that was the final thing. You know, I even asked his dad, are you sure with your support of Wake Forest you want him being a Carolina Blue? And he said, blood is a lot more important than money. But I think the idea, just as soon as he told me that, I said, well, you should come here and we're going to try to help you think like a coach.
Well, when I was transferring from James Madison, I took official visits at Columbia and Penn. And honestly, that's where I thought I'd make my decision. And Coach Williams and his staff had just, throughout that spring, taken the job at North Carolina, coming from Kansas. And they had recruited some of my teammates at New Hampton School while they were at Kansas. So I'd gotten to know Joe Holliday throughout the recruiting process. You know, the funny story goes, cell phones were just getting big in those days when I was in high school, the late 90s, early 2000s. And I had a little Nokia. And a lot of coaches, I was Rashad McCance's roommate, would call my cell phone to recruit Rashad. He was a McDonald's All-American and a highly recruited player. So I got to know a lot of big-time coaches because they had to call me to talk to Rashad, and most of them would just call and ask for Rashad. Joe Holliday would call and talk to me for 10 minutes before he would, ask to put Rashad on the phone. So we developed a little bit of a relationship, and he called me while I was going through the transfer process and asked if I'd think about being a preferred walk-on at North Carolina and coming down and visiting with them unofficially and sitting down with Coach Williams. And I'll be honest, Rick, at the time, I didn't have a whole lot of interest in that. I thought of myself as a scholarship player, but my dad really encouraged me, if a Hall of Fame coach and somebody of Coach Williams' caliber wants to visit with you, you take the time to do it. And that 2-hour meeting in Chapel Hill was a life-changing moment for me. And I never was promised one bit of playing time. I wasn't promised a scholarship. I was fortunate both of those things ended up working out over time. But the defining factor was I wanted to coach basketball. That was been a dream of mine my whole life. He convinced me that, not in an arrogant way, it wasn't about him, but that being a part of the family there and, that he would help me beyond my 4 years playing, get into coaching, that would be the best place to go if I wanted to coach college basketball. And those were pretty profound words. I don't know if I even understood them at the time, but that's ultimately why I went to college at Carolina.
What did you see in Wes Miller that you knew he was going to become a college coach?
Because he could get guys to go along with what he wanted. He was a leader, he wasn't a frontline player by any means by that, but what he could do, he could get guys to make sacrifices for a common goal. He could get his teammates to go along with what he thought was right, and usually what he was thinking was going to be better for the team. So I just think he really is a natural leader.
How important is it for you to recruit in-state players?
Well, it started with Deontay Baldwin for us. And I mean, if he's got great parents, but if he didn't, I'd adopt him, he's just one of those kids that just changed our entire culture here, in my opinion. And he was about everything that we're about. And now he's having an unbelievable career playing professionally in Germany. So it's been neat to see him take it to the next level. But what we kind of found out was we don't have to go all over the country looking for great players. There's great players in our backyard. And we've realized you can't really compete against North Carolina and Duke and others. But there's so many great players in North Carolina, even some of the ones that aren't being recruited heavily, in 2 or 3 years may be better than some of the ones that are.
Right.
And we've had a number of kids that we could use as an example in that kind of scenario. So we really have invested in recruiting here in the state. I think we have 10 North Carolina players on our roster now, and I think we've had a lot of success with North Carolina guys.
They've been tremendous. I've been blessed with Coach Miller and the assistant coaches. They never try to box me in. They've seen that I have some natural gifts, and they always just encourage me to reach the highest part of the pedestal that I can. James Dickey, and I'm a forward here at UNCG.
We have a real good balance of great youth and talent and some veteran experience and leadership. And you mentioned James Dickey, one of the hardest workers I've ever coached. He seems to have added to his game every year. He's going to be a tremendous professional at whatever level he makes it to, but he's going to be at a good one. I don't know where he'll end up yet. And then Isaiah Miller, has already had a tremendous career here in 2 years, and he keeps adding to his game too. But Malik Massey probably is our unsung hero. He's a senior, a fourth-year senior, but he did a prep year, so he's a little bit older, and he's a Charlotte kid, played at West Charlotte. He's tough as nails. He embodies everything we're about. He probably doesn't get as much credit. He's one of our best defensive players, one of our floor leaders, just because he doesn't, fill up the stat sheet. But we're really fortunate to have 3 guys like that, and then Kyron Galloway, that have all played all these minutes here in this program, over the last 2 and 3 years. But you talk about the youth, we're really excited. Guys like Angelo Allegri and Caleb Hunter, the Langley twins are the future of our backcourt, we believe. Derico Williams may be the most gifted player that's ever walked through our doors. We have a 6'10" freshman from the Netherlands, Bas Lede, Muhammad Abdul Salam, Michael Hewitt. I could keep going down the list, but we do think our freshman and sophomore classes are loaded with talent, and they have good guys to look up to and how to approach it every day. So we think our culture can continue to grow as well.
They just made me grow. They made me understand so many things on and off the court. They make sure I don't get big-headed. They make sure I have a head of earning my way out of anything instead of getting it gave to me. So on the court, they gonna coach me, but off the court, they gonna teach me and let me grow. Isaiah Miller, point guard.
We're visiting with recruits and families, and they love everything we're talking about, but they'd say, we don't think you're a good enough program, or we're worried you're not going to win enough games. And then, to kind of look up and go, we're one of the teams that's being considered one of the best teams in college basketball that didn't get an automatic bid. That was really neat, and I think it said a lot about the growth. But don't get me wrong, I wanted to be in the darn thing, and I'd like to figure out a way to get back again.
The deciding factor was just kind of Wes Miller had a winning program. You can see he kind of changed the whole program. And guys are kind of buying in, listening to him. Keyshawn Langley, I'm a point guard. I'm a freshman.
I don't know if I made the play, but I want my guys to make those plays now. And no, listen, we're not going to be a perfect team, but we want to have perfection with effort, and you can control how hard you play. You can control going after loose balls and talking on defense. And I think we have guys that want to do that stuff. It's interesting with freshmen, Rick, and young players that come into college. They want to do it, but they might not know how to do it to this level yet.
I'll say physicality, being physical, being mentally strong, learning how to play with the other players on the team, and just have fun. My name is Kobe Langley. I'm a point guard / shooting guard.
When you can think back and remember, sometimes as coaches it seems simple to us, but it wasn't simple to us when we were players. And I think it gives you a little bit of patience and a little bit of understanding when you're trying to deal with these kids day in and day out.
I'll bring to the table, I will bring leadership, my energy on defense and offense, just being out there, being a floor general, and try to lead my team to a victory.
Number one, I've been so fortunate. I've gotten a lot of good breaks. Having Roy Williams in my corner as a player and as a coach, and having a coach that would believe in you to put somebody like me on the floor says a lot about him.
Right.
And then obviously having him as a mentor, I pinch myself and I just feel, blessed and fortunate that the guy that I get to call to ask advice about coaching is in the Hall of Fame. So I've been really fortunate, Rick. But I do feel like I can relate to the guys because I've been in pretty much every role you can be in as a player. I was the guy that didn't play. I was the guy that sat out as a redshirt. I've been the backup. I backed up Wayne Ellington and Ty Lawson my senior year.
Right.
I was a starter as a junior. I've been a freshman. I was the best player on my team in Europe, and we obviously weren't a very good team when I played professionally. So I feel like I can relate to all the different roles. And I try to use that as a positive, coaching these kids.
In the last 3 years at UNC Greensboro, they won 25, 27, and 29 games, went to the NIT twice, NCAA once. Are you surprised at his success at such an early age?
Not at such an early age. You're surprised when you say UNC Greensboro won 25, 27, 29. Well, that coach must really be doing something because that's unheard of in their history. So it's more of a line of thinking of, golly, boy, they've really done some great things. But it doesn't surprise me with him. I mean, he'd make a stop here and a stop there and a stop here and a stop there and picked up things at every situation. When you watch them play, you do see some of the things from us, but you see that he's his own man and he's picked up things that, yes, fit his personality and fit his background, but also really, really fit his personnel. I'd like to say, hey, 25, 27, 29, we'll win 31 this year, big fella. But I know that's a lot of pressure there.
Our goals this year, and this is something that comes from Coach Miller, and he kind of brings it upon us, is to just come in the gym every day and just try to put pennies in a jar. It sounds cliche, but he didn't kind of condition us to not have goals such as go to the tournament or things like that, but just have small goals and they'll turn into something big. So just try to come in the gym every day and have a good practice.
I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back, tell me I'm garbage. I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone in progression, it's all that I wanted. The phone in affection, I summon and dub it. Cause I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling.